Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
It is 16 fucking degrees outside. Tomorrow it's going to be 56. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact as to why Mother Nature seems to be so bipolar. New Jersey has weather patterns of its own. I don't like it. I want the warm weather. I am over the winter, and I am looking straight towards June, where we get pools and beaches and water parks and cold beverages and everything that has nothing to do with the winter. But it is still the winter. It is the very first weekend in February, and just so happens that you should all know that it's Saturday! You know what that means. We're live! Ladies and gentlemen, I am the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you back here to the greatest fucking show on earth, streaming live across 4 different platforms, 5 different accounts. I am rocking, I am rolling, I am full of energy, and I checked the mic and it damn sure sounds right, boy. I greatly appreciate every single one of you who is watching right now and all the people who will join, as of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle. Shit. Do you smell that? Do you know what that is? I'll tell you. That is the smell of pure fucking excellence. My God, it just gets better every time I take a whiff of it. Wait for it. Wait for it. To mankind, and this is the official lightning flash update for Saturday, February 4th, 2023. The first LFU of February. As January comes to a close, I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that 1 month of 2023 is already gone. I feel as though my life is going way quicker than I anticipated it to go. I'm going to be 24 in 2 months. Unfucking believable. I will be 24 in 2 months, trying to wrap my head around it. I'm getting old. I'm not a kid anymore. It's unbelievable. But you guys have come in clutch so far, and you guys have made January probably the best month of the DJ Storms brand ever. January was a fantastic month. My view count, my sub count, and my watch hours count is a lot higher than it usually is, and I'm really, really hoping to continue that going forward into the month of February. So far, we got Peanuts, we got Sleeping Angels, Aaron Ziegler. I'm very, very happy to see you guys in the chat. I hope you guys are having a very good weekend. I hope you guys are doing something relaxing, or maybe you're going out, doing something fun. But either way, we got the final hoss as well. Final hoss as well. Hope you are doing okay as well. Thank you, as always, for coming on in and joining me here on the Lightning Flash Update. We got a lot of material to talk about, including a top free agent in the industry right now. Could he be heading to one of the major stages, potentially AEW? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the internal feelings about the Royal Rumble. We're going to talk about yet another lawsuit that Vince McMahon has on his plate. Good. Keep on piling that shit on him. And we're also going to talk about Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold says no to WrestleMania. The two matches that were pitched to Stone Cold Steve Austin, Stone Cold told WWE, no, I'm not doing it. And we're going to talk about why it is a great thing and why no one should be complaining that Stone Cold is not going to be on WrestleMania's card. I thank you all for tuning on in. I thank you all for all the support. I'm pretty sure we're going to see a lot more people in the chat as time goes on, because Saturdays are my day. I own Saturdays. Saturdays are for DJ Storm. Saturdays are for the posse. They're for the DJ Storms posse. You guys are great. This year, it's going to be a fantastic year, and we started it in the best way possible with some great views, some great watch hours, and some great content overall. Love the ISPW shorts that I've been uploading and the ISPW vlogs. I've been uploading a lot more shorts as well, and they have seemed to blow up. Very, very happy to see that. And we are going to get into the festivities here in just a little bit. As per usual, let me send out a special thank you to Mr. Earl Cole, who appeared on the rundown for NXT Vengeance Day this past Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. If you missed that, you can go check that out after the LFU is over. You'll have plenty of time before Vengeance Day, which is tonight at 8 p.m. The link is in the description. We also went over AEW Dynamite. We dissected that show and gave our thoughts and best possible analytical dissection on Dynamite from this past Wednesday. So I will not be covering Dynamite on the LFU. So if you guys missed the rundown with Earl Cole, if you want our predictions on NXT Vengeance Day tonight, and you also want to get our thoughts and opinions on Dynamite from this past Wednesday, please go and check that out right now or after the LFU is over. Also, tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, I will be live once again. I will be live for the Rewind. That is right, the Rewind for NXT Vengeance Day. We're going to dissect everything that goes down tonight. Shout out to Earl Cole as well. I was just getting ready to finish up talking about Earl Cole. Earl Cole is in the chat as well, so shout out to him. He is fantastic at what he does, and I'm very, very happy he joined me on Thursday. We talked about Dynamite, and we preview and predicted NXT Vengeance Day. Go check that out. Like I said, the link is in the description. Please make sure that you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HistoryMakerDJS. Once again, at HistoryMakerDJS. Both of those links are in the description, as well as the link to my Facebook. Please make sure that you like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms posse group on Facebook. That is, all of those links are in the description, as well as all the links to Hardcore Sports. That is right, Hardcore Sports. We are looking to be the #1 brand in all sports analytics, including football and baseball and hockey, basketball, UFC, wrestling. So please go and check out all the Hardcore Sports channels, including the Twitch channel, which we're live on, the Instagram at Hardcore Sports Network, Twitter at Hardcore Sports N, and YouTube, which we are live on right now at Hardcore Sports Network. Please make sure, if you haven't already done so, like the stream, no matter where you're watching it from. Like the stream and share it out on all platforms of social media, because we want to get as many people in here as possible. It is vital that everyone knows that DJ Storms is live on YouTube, because I'm telling you, DJ Storms, everybody needs a little bit of DJ Storms in their life. If you don't have DJ Storms in your life, I really don't know what the fuck you're doing. You're missing out, and you are not living life to the fullest if DJ Storms is not on your plate at least once a week. You got to get your dosage of DJ Storms in there. It's vital. Also, when you like the stream, no matter where you're watching it from, please make sure, if you're watching on YouTube, to hit the subscribe button and hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace. That way you will know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, oh, baby, it is the best time to be on YouTube, because it's the only time you're going to get to see this oh so glorious sideburn chin strap combination and this beautiful mustache right here. Give me 1 second, because Earl Cole, you're finally here for it. Earl Cole's going to get a second weekly dose of it, because we're going to light it up right here with this beautifully crafted magic comb right here on the channel with a little and a dash of and a whole lot of because like fresh pizza, that Mr. Bruno's type pizza, or like a meatball parma sandwich, or maybe a little penne vodka, maybe a little eggplant rollatini. I'm just so good. I am fucking tasty. That's what I am. I'm the tastiest snack in the IWC, and everyone should be made aware of that. Especially Philly Talks Sports Podcast. Philly Sports Talk Podcast is in the chat right now, and I'm very happy to see him in the chat. Like the stream on my YouTube, and then go over to Hardcore Sports channel. Like it on the Hardcore Sports YouTube as well. We are going to have a very, very, very fun time. That is for sure. So let us not waste any more time. We're going to get right into the festivities here on the channel. We got the news, rumors, and reports, and we got a lot to dissect. That is for sure. Let's start off with a report on the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble was, of course, 1 week ago, and now it is in the books. We are officially on the road to WrestleMania, and we are getting set for WrestleMania 39. Next year is going to be WrestleMania 40, if you could believe it. It is fucking unbelievable. So, WrestleVotes provided an update on the internal feelings on the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. And it was kind of disappointing in my eyes that WWE would actually think this. Now, they tweeted out, did WrestleVotes, and I quote, asked for some thoughts after last night. They tweeted this on Sunday, almost a week ago. Source said they are happy with how both Rumble matches turned out. Gunther's performance in particular, along with Logan Paul and Ricochet's spot, better than ever imagined. Better than even imagined. And I quote, according to the backstage WWE officials, Bloodline Angle stole the show, as expected, exactly why it went last. End quote. So WrestleVotes is saying that WWE was very pleased with how the Royal Rumble turned out, and especially how both Rumble matches turned out. Now, listen, Gunther's performance, fantastic. The Ricochet Logan Paul spot, fantastic. The match with Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns and the Bloodline angle after the show, fantastic. But you see, that's where the good stops. You know, notice how all the good that was said in this tweet was all the good that happened on the show. There was no other good parts of the show that WrestleVotes mentioned, because there were no other good parts of the show, period. And this is actually quite disappointing, because the Royal Rumble as a whole, the Royal Rumble from start to finish, was not a good show. It was not a very good pay-per-view. It wasn't the worst pay-per-view that I've seen. It wasn't the worst Rumble of all time. But the Royal Rumble show overall, it was not good. The Royal Rumble matches were very, very bland, very boring. Nothing crazy happened. There were superstars that were eliminated when they shouldn't have been eliminated. Spots were wasted. Booker T was legitimately the only genuine surprise in the men's Royal Rumble. The women's Rumble, I will say, was better than the men's because the women's Rumble at least had surprise. At least that felt like a legit Royal Rumble. And you had Rhea Ripley going the distance from number 1 all the way to number 30. She set a new record, and Rhea Ripley was made into a fucking superstar. And then Cody coming out at number 30. I mean, that was fucking terrible. And then on the undercard, Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss, fucking boring. I don't understand why that match was even put on the show. And LA Knight and Bray Wyatt were fucking shafted. A feud that was actually built up very, very nicely, fucking shafted. Shafted in 5 minutes, and LA Knight was made to look like a fucking loser. And Bray Wyatt is back in the same exact boat in which he was in before he was fired. Disrespectful to both men. A spit in the face to both Bray Wyatt and LA Knight. And the fact that WWE is just brushing this off just because, the Rumble matches went great in their eyes. You know, the winners may have been great, and the closing sequences of both Rumbles may have been great, but at the end of the fucking day, that doesn't mean that the Rumble matches overall were great. They were bland. They were bland. They were boring. They took no risks. They didn't do anything that is out of the ordinary. Everything was very, very blah. In all honesty, they built the show around the fact that, it's the Royal Rumble. It was a lackluster build, a very lackluster build. And in the end, we got a lackluster show minus the main event and the main event angle after the main event. So at the end of the day, I don't know how WWE could be very happy with that. And if anything, this just goes to show me that WWE is falling into that complacency stage once again. And I don't want that. I really don't want that. I even said it on the Rewind. This show felt like a Vince McMahon produced pay-per-view. This show legit felt like Vince McMahon had his hands all over it. The only segments that it didn't feel like Vince had his hands on was the main event and the angle after the main event. Outside of that, very disappointing show. For what we expected out of Triple H and from what we know from Triple H, especially with Clash at the Castle and what happened at Extreme Rules and SummerSlam and Crown Jewel. Crown Jewel was great. How is it that the Saudi show was better than the Royal Rumble? That right there is very, very disappointing. A poorly produced show. And I'm actually very disappointed that WWE did not acknowledge that. It's very, very weird with how WWE operates. 1 step forward, 2 steps back with this company. Also, sticking with the Rumble, PW Insider also confirmed that Michael Cole's reaction to Pat McAfee's return at the Rumble was not staged. That was genuine. Neither him nor Corey Graves were informed of McAfee's return, and they kept it secret up until he came out. And if that's the case, I thought that was great. Matter of fact, Pat McAfee was probably the second best thing on the show. Outside of Roman Reigns and the Bloodline and whatever happened to close the show, Pat McAfee was probably my second favorite thing about the Rumble, just because Pat McAfee is fantastic at what he does. And I'm very happy that Pat McAfee is back, because Pat McAfee is fantastic. Pat McAfee is hilarious. Pat McAfee's hilarious. And I truthfully hope that he is back on SmackDown in a consistent role, because Pat McAfee, he knows how to commentate. He knows how to commentate, and he's very, very good. He brings the energy. He is very witty. He's funny. I want Pat McAfee in the Royal Rumble, or not the Royal Rumble, on SmackDown behind the commentary booth, and I want to see Pat McAfee with Michael Cole once again. I think Wade Barrett is doing a very, very admirable job, but Pat McAfee is where it's at. Pat McAfee's beloved. Pat McAfee's entertaining. And he, honest to God, he made Michael Cole a better commentator. Michael Cole has been fantastic since being paired with Pat McAfee. Honest to God. So I'm happy that he's back. And you know what? The reaction was great for him. I'll tell you what else is great. These are a couple of things that are great. Number one, Kota Ibushi is officially a free agent. His contract with New Japan is expired. He's been on the shelf for a year and a half now with a shoulder injury, but he's ready to get back into the swing of things. He was recently announced for a couple of game-changer wrestling events for WrestleMania weekend. And I believe those are sponsored by Joey Janela as well. Those are sponsored by Joey Janela. And Joey Janela, he is great in his own right. Listen, if you're going to give me Joey Janela and Kota Ibushi, I would definitely not complain about that. I'm not going to watch the show. I'm not going to go to the show because I have plenty of other more important things to do. And there's just too much wrestling to consume. But I'm very, very happy about Kota Ibushi getting back into the swing of things. And whoever he fights, it's going to be a great match because Kota Ibushi, he is phenomenal. If you don't know how phenomenal he is, go back and watch the Cruiserweight Classic with Kota Ibushi because Kota Ibushi absolutely fucking stole the show. Absolutely fucking stole the show on more than one occasion against guys like Cedric Alexander and TJP and numerous amounts of individuals. I'm telling you, it is fantastic what this guy can do. Absolutely fantastic what this guy can do, and I could not be happier with what Kota Ibushi has done over the course of his career. And you know something? If this is the start of Kota Ibushi's free agency, you can imagine that Tony Khan's going to have his eye on him. He's not going to WWE. Listen, I'm sure that Triple H wants to get Kota Ibushi, and I'm sure that Triple H wants to secure him to help rejuvenate the NXT brand. And you know what? I wouldn't mind that, and I would be very, very happy about that. I would. But at the end of the fucking day, with Vince back, until Vince McMahon is either in a straitjacket, until he's in a prison cell, or until he's in a grave, I am going to always remain fearful of anyone with the talent of Kota Ibushi going to the WWE. I'm fearful for Dragon Lee. And he's reportedly set to, start up sooner rather than later. He's in the Performance Center. He's probably going to get some shit rolling. He'll probably be on NXT Level Up sooner rather than later. I'm fearful for Dragon Lee. I don't want him to fail, but at the end of the fucking day, Dragon Lee, he's the type of guy that Vince McMahon frowns upon. And it sucks. It really does suck. I can absolutely see him going to AEW. Matter of fact, I think it's pretty safe to say that he will be at Forbidden Door. Whoever the All-Atlantic or the TNT champion is by Forbidden Door, I think it's safe to say that Kota Ibushi will be challenging for the All-Atlantic champion. Matter of fact, if we get Konosuke Takeshita beating Orange Cassidy for the All-Atlantic Championship, if you can imagine that. We get Konosuke Takeshita beating Orange Cassidy for the All-Atlantic Championship. Can you imagine Konosuke Takeshita versus Kota Ibushi for the All-Atlantic Championship? Holy fuck. That would be great. That would be out of this world, unimaginably good. That's what I want. That's what I fucking want. If you are a pro wrestling fan and you don't want to see Konosuke Takeshita versus Kota Ibushi, I think there's something mentally fucking wrong with you. Give me all that shit. Shout out to Dee Dee, who is also in the chat. Dee Dee is fantastic, and I'm very, very happy that she decided to drop by. Keeping with the good news. It is worth noting that Nia Jax's profile on WWE.com is still in the alumni section. Nia Jax came in at number 30 at the Women's Royal Rumble, and all of us were very, very fearful that we were going to see Nia Jax back in WWE. That was not the case. And at the end of the day, her profile is still in the alumni section, while Chelsea Green's profile is on the current roster section. So Chelsea Green, she is back in WWE. Nia Jax is not. Thank the Lord Almighty, God exists. I think we can all rest peacefully knowing that God does exist. He is not dead. He is well alive, and he has answered our prayers. Nia Jax is not coming back to WWE, I'd like to hope, because she is not in the current roster section. So cross our fingers there, and praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Thank you for saving us from the atrocity known as Nia Jax. Unfortunately, there is one atrocity that is still in WWE. Her name is Ronda Rousey, and apparently she is locked in for WrestleMania 39, not in a high-profile match, not in any women's championship match. She's not fighting Charlotte. She's not fighting Rhea. She's not going to fight Bianca. She is not going to win either the Raw or the SmackDown Women's Championship. She's not fighting Becky either. Apparently, Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, who have been a tag team as of lately, they are set to take on Damage Control. This is Dakota Kai and Io Sky for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. And according to Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, it is supposedly locked in for WrestleMania 39. Simple question here. Why? Why? Why are we even talking about the women's tag team titles being defended in a match like this on WrestleMania? Why are we even talking about Ronda Rousey being on WrestleMania, period? Now, this would be great for Dakota Kai. It would be great for Io Sky. It would be great for Shayna Baszler. But the one glaring issue is Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey is a piece of shit floating in a sea of gold. There's only one thing you need to do. You need to extract the piece of shit from the sea of gold. Shayna Baszler is gold. Dakota Kai is gold. Io Sky is gold. Ronda Rousey is shit. Why is she in this position? If anything, Shayna Baszler should be the woman to win the Elimination Chamber and go on to fight Bianca Belair at WrestleMania. But instead, they gave that spot to Natty. Don't know why. Actually, I do know why. It's because it's fucking Canada, and we need to get the obligatory Natalya in Canada match. So who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? I don't give a shit. You know what I would do? Here's what I would do. I would fucking burn the women's tag team titles. That they mean nothing. They mean absolutely fucking nothing. But what I would do is I would take Katana Chance and Kaden Carter from NXT, who right now are probably the best set of women's tag team champions that WWE has seen ever, either across the main roster or NXT. They are the best set of women's tag team champions that I think I've personally seen. They are phenomenal. Now, the titles don't mean shit, but they've put on good matches. They have been fighting champions. They haven't been losing non-title matches. So I don't mind them as champions. I think that it's well-deserved for them, well overdue for them. You know what I would do? I would have those two women, Katana and Kaden, I would put them on the main roster, and I would have them fight Damage Control. Think about that. Katana, Kaden, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. That right there could easily steal the show from a women's wrestling perspective. If they want to, you give those women 12, 13, 14 minutes. That could be the best ever women's tag team title match that we could possibly have ever seen. And I would do a title for title match. I would combine the NXT and the NXT women's tag team titles and have them float between all three brands. Or if anything, I would combine both titles and then retire both championships. And we never have to worry about that shit again. Because women's tag team titles do not work. They don't work. They've never worked. No company should have women's tag team titles unless it's Stardom, because Stardom is an all-women's roster, and Stardom is all about pushing women's wrestling as its number one. It's the only thing that it pushes. So at the end of the day, if Stardom wants to have women's tag team titles, by all means, I don't give a shit. But if we're talking about an all-inclusive, well-rounded company that has tag team wrestling, mid-card divisions, women's wrestling, and a main event scene, there should be no such thing as women's tag team titles. They don't work. I'm sorry to disappoint you. I am sorry if that pisses you off, but it's the fucking truth. Women's tag team titles don't work. I would do Kaden and Katana versus Damage Control at WrestleMania, and that would make the WrestleMania card better. Having Ronda Rousey on the WrestleMania card is going to bring the show down several notches. Several notches. And Lisa's also in the chat. Yes, Lisa, I'm well aware that you're hungover because you were about 6 drinks in when I called you last night to check up on you. You need to lay off the alcohol, honey. I understand you're excited about meeting Billy Zane in about 5 months, but I mean, holy shit. Lay off the bottle. You gotta relax. You need to give your liver a break. Why is this match happening? I don't fucking know. All I can fucking hope for is that after this, Ronda Rousey is gone. Supposedly her contract is up after WrestleMania. And if that's the case, good. Ronda, be gone, never to be seen again. I don't want anything to do with you. Bloomberg was in the news this week, and Bloomberg offered us some really, really interesting pieces of information. One of them concerns AEW. According to Bloomberg, Tony Khan is reportedly considering a streaming service deal for All Elite Wrestling through Warner Brothers Discovery. I think this is something that many people have been asking for a long, long time, and I understand it's a new company and they can't square away everything so quickly, but I'm very, very happy to hear that if this is the case, we could be looking at pay-per-views being streamed through Warner Brothers Discovery. It's going to be much easier than paying $60. We're going to get past Dynamites, past Rampages, and many, many more. It's going to be a great thing, and it's definitely going to be something that a lot of people are going to take to very, very quickly. Plus, on top of that, I think that this is going to bring a lot of new fans to AEW. Can you imagine how many subscribers to Warner Brothers Discovery that they have that aren't wrestling fans, that aren't AEW fans? They do that, and we could very much see a huge fan expansion for AEW. Maybe the ratings could very well go up. Maybe if people who are non-wrestling fans see that AEW is on Warner Brothers Discovery, they're going to watch this shit and go, oh shit, I want to watch this live. I'm going to make plans to watch Dynamite, or I'm going to make plans to watch Rampage. Maybe they add Ring of Honor too. It could very well happen with Ring of Honor too, because at the end of the day, if Tony Khan owns Ring of Honor, maybe they could combine the Honor Club subscriptions with the Warner Brothers Discovery subscriptions, and then we get Ring of Honor and AEW on Warner Brothers Discovery. Maybe we get a Ring of Honor weekly show on Warner Brothers Discovery, and maybe we see Ring of Honor become their true version of NXT Black and Gold, and it will be their developmental system for AEW when AEW wants to get new talent on the show, and they're looking to rejuvenate the roster and move some people up the rankings. Ring of Honor could be that breeding ground. A lot of people could come through Ring of Honor, and a lot of people could be in a position where they are going to go through Ring of Honor. They are going to pay their dues in Ring of Honor. They're going to build a reputation in Ring of Honor, and then they're going to move up to AEW television. And when they're ready, when their star power is at their highest, they are going to take AEW by storm. This is a great thing. And I really do hope that this gets squared away very, very soon, because AEW, I'm pretty sure a lot of people would be a lot more open to AEW with the streaming deal, especially those who are non-wrestling fans that are subscribed to Warner Brothers Discovery. And I would definitely subscribe. I would definitely subscribe. Bloomberg also reported, and this is a great thing to hear, and I hope that this shit keeps on happening. Bloomberg also reported that another investor filed suit against WWE over the, and I quote, horrifying allegations against executive chairman Vince McMahon, saying that he hopes to bar Vince McMahon from the board. All I have to say is good. Good. That makes 1, 2, 3, 4. I feel like the count from Sesame Street. 4 lawsuits. Keep them going. I want to see as many lawsuits as humanly possible. The more that you absolutely bury this man in lawsuits, the worse it's going to be for him, the better it's going to be for the fans. Because the more lawsuits that are filed on Vince McMahon, then when WWE's had enough, they're going to have to let him go. They're going to have to let him go. Now, I do not believe that Vince is going to go quietly. I think that Vince is going to fight these lawsuits as if his life fucking depends on it, which it pretty much does at this rate. It pretty much does, because if he does not get past these lawsuits, he could be going to prison for the rest of his miserable fucking life. Man's 77 years old, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that no one can get this guy out. He's like a fucking cockroach. He doesn't go away. He's going to outlive all of us. I am going to be 24. He's going to be 78 in August. I'm telling you right now, that man is going to live until he's 150. He's going to find a way to cheat death. He really is. 4 lawsuits. Do I hear 5? Do I hear 6? It's like I'm a fucking bidder. More lawsuits, please. The more lawsuits, the better. The more lawsuits, the more shit Vince is going to have on his table. And at the end of the day, we may never get the sale of the company until God knows how many years. Maybe we may not ever get the sale of the company at all. We may never, ever get the sale of the company at all. Who the fuck knows? But I'm telling you, there is a part of me that is a little worried. And I'm worried because, yes, it's great that they're burying him in lawsuits. But again, you have to remember that this is Vince McMahon. And I've said it over and over again. Vince McMahon, especially with a guy like Jerry McDivitt as his lawyer, Vince is virtually untouchable. He really is. And I'm very, very concerned that at the end of this, Vince is going to get away. He got away with the allegations from June. He got back into the company. He got away with it. He was away for what, 6 months? He got back. He weaseled his way back into the company. So you know what? I would not be surprised if he ends up getting out of this shit. I would not be surprised if he ends up getting out of this shit. I wouldn't. I really wouldn't. But it's great to hear that more lawsuits are being filed on Vince McMahon. The more lawsuits, the better. That is for fucking sure. We need as many fucking lawsuits as we possibly can get, because if we get more lawsuits, then that means that Vince is going to be preoccupied with more and more shit. At the end of the day, Vince McMahon cannot facilitate a sale of the company and juggle all these lawsuits at the same time. And on top of that, the lawsuits are also being filed on WWE as well. It's not just Vince McMahon. So the more lawsuits that are filed on WWE as well as Vince McMahon, WWE could very well make the decision for Vince once again, just like they did back in July. They're going to have to pull him aside. Look, Vince, this shit ain't working out. You're only causing the company more damage. Now, Vince probably won't give a shit, but at the end of the day, he can't say no forever. He's going to have to inevitably give in, because if he doesn't, he's going to end up taking everyone down with him. Not that he would give a shit. Not that he would give a shit, but at the end of the day, WWE could very well make the decision for Vince at the end of the day. The more lawsuits for Vince McMahon, the better. Corner him until he has no other options left. Now, let's move on to a little bit more positive news. We got WrestleVotes, another report from WrestleVotes, and they were talking about WrestleMania and yet another proposed plan for WrestleMania, this time with the Intercontinental Championship. They tweeted out on Thursday, and I quote, "I'm told while not decided 100%, there are plans to feature an Intercontinental Championship 3-way match at WrestleMania. Gunther v. Sheamus v. Drew McIntyre. There are a number of supporters within creative that not only want the match, but they want it towards the top. TBD," end quote. I think this is a great idea. I think that is a phenomenal idea. It's great because not only do we get Gunther and Sheamus again, but we get Drew McIntyre in there. And Drew McIntyre is in a high priority role at WrestleMania. And it's an easy shoe-in storyline. We get a little bit of Gunther and Drew McIntyre. We get a little bit of Gunther and Sheamus. We get a little bit of Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, and they have history, and they have put on banger fucking matches in the past. Now, the one thing that makes this so great is the fact that the Intercontinental title, it is being portrayed as a high priority championship. And the one thing that has really made it into a high priority championship has been Gunther and his booking. Gunther has been booked like an absolute beast. Gunther has been booked like an absolute monster. He's undefeated. He won the Intercontinental title within 2 months of being on WWE's main roster. He has had banger matches with the likes of Nakamura and Sheamus and Rey Mysterio and Ricochet. He put on a very good match with Braun Strowman, too. Look at the people that he's beaten. Look at the people that he's beaten. Ricochet, Nakamura, Sheamus, Rey Mysterio, Strowman. The man is on the run of a lifetime. And you know what? We got a number one contenders match next week. I don't know what's going to happen next week, but if you're asking me, I would love to see Cross and Gunther. I would love to see Karrion Kross go up against Gunther. Because unlike Rey Mysterio, Gunther beating Kross is a hell of a lot more believable. Gunther beating Kross is a hell of a lot more believable than fucking Rey Mysterio beating Gunther. So if we get that match at the Elimination Chamber, I mean, holy shit, the Elimination Chamber itself is shaping up to be night 3 of WrestleMania. If you honestly take a look at the chamber, think about this. We got the U.S. title chamber. We got the women's chamber. We got Sami and Roman. Then you add Kross and Gunther. You then add Kross and Gunther. You add the potential Viking Raiders versus Drew McIntyre and Sheamus match, because that's what it seems like they're building towards. That right there is night 3 of WrestleMania, if I've ever fucking seen it. And with a crowd like Montreal, I mean, holy fuck. That's going to be a great fucking show. So if we get Kross and Gunther, that's only going to add on top of what Gunther's doing. And then we get this triple threat match at WrestleMania. Gunther he's probably going to go down as the best Intercontinental Champion in the last decade. Gunther is phenomenal. Gunther is amazing. And I'm very, very happy that Gunther is getting the shine. And if we get this match at WrestleMania, you are not going to hear one fucking complaint out of me. You're not going to hear one fucking complaint out of me. I want Kross and Gunther at the Elimination Chamber. I want to see those two big men beat the fucking shit out of each other. That's my type of pro wrestling. The big one for today. According to multiple sources, including Dave Meltzer and Fightful, Stone Cold Steve Austin has reportedly turned down both WrestleMania matches that were offered to him. If you guys were not aware, he was offered a match with Brock Lesnar, and he was also offered a match with Roman Reigns. Meltzer even reported that The Rock is also a no-go for WrestleMania, but he has left the door open to facing Reigns at WrestleMania 40. And you know what? I say to that, good. I say to both of this shit, good. Let's talk about The Rock here for a little bit. If The Rock was going to face Roman, and if The Rock should face Roman, The Rock and Roman does not need a championship. Neither man needs a championship. That is a match that sells itself. It's like Rock and Cena. That match didn't need a championship, nor did that match need to main event WrestleMania 28. It didn't. It could have gone on in the opening match, and it would have had the same effect. WrestleMania would have still had buys. WrestleMania would have still had a hell of a lot of views, and it would have been wildly successful no matter how you looked at it. So at the end of the fucking day, it didn't need to main event, and it didn't need to be for a championship either, and it wasn't. Same thing with the Stone Cold versus Roman. You don't need a championship for that match. That's the type of match that you can put on a SummerSlam, or if you want to, you could put it on a Survivor Series. If you want to make the undercard at Survivor Series seem important. Why exactly are we even in a discussion where Stone Cold and The Rock are going to be fighting for a championship? Roman Reigns has already built the reputation of the tribal chief up to be as good as it could possibly fucking be. We don't need to add on top of all this shit. But The Rock fighting Roman at WrestleMania 40, I think that is a great idea, and I think that shit is pretty much all but confirmed. I think that's all but confirmed, and I think that's a great idea because that would be the final swan song for both of them. That would be the end of The Rock's career, and it would be the end of Roman's full-time wrestling career, and he's going to transfer into the Hollywood role just like The Rock did, just like Cena did, just like Batista did. But do you want to know why Do you want to know why it is so fucking great that Stone Cold and The Rock are not going to be on WrestleMania's card? Stone Cold and The Rock not being on WrestleMania's card is now going to force Vince McMahon, and you know he's in charge. After what happened at the Royal Rumble, don't tell me he's not. Vince is back in charge. Now, with Stone Cold and The Rock not being on WrestleMania, with Vince being semi in charge, once again, of creative, it's going to force his hand into actually booking WrestleMania around the full stars, the full-time stars. The ones like Sheamus, and the ones like Drew, and the ones like Cross, and the ones like the Judgment Day, Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Cody Rhodes, Rollins, all of those individuals. Yeah, we may get a Pat McAfee match here or a Logan Paul match there, but the majority of WrestleMania's card is going to be centered around the full-time talent. And Stone Cold and The Rock, they're not needed on WrestleMania. You take a look at the card in general and what it's shaping up to be, it could be the best WrestleMania of the last 15 years. We don't need Stone Cold and we don't need The Rock. Now, let us discuss some weekly shows, shall we? Those are the news, rumors, and reports, and we are going to discuss the weekly shows, and I hope you guys are having a great time. I hope you guys enjoyed my analytical dissection of the news, rumors, and reports. Once again, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you to Didi. Thank you, Philly Sports Talk Podcast. Thank you, The Final Hoss. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Peanuts. Thank you, Aaron Ziegler as well. I know I saw him comment a little bit earlier. You guys are great, and you guys have really made this year, and we're only 1 month into the year. This year so far has been one of the best, if not the best year for the DJ Storms brand. Let's talk about Raw. It's like I was living in an alternate universe for Raw. I'm not even going to lie here. It's very, very weird. The Royal Rumble, as we talked about, was not a good show. It was not a good show at all. Minus the main event and minus the ending segment. Royal Rumble was not a very good show. Usually, when WWE has a big pay-per-view like this, usually the pay-per-view ends up being decent, but the follow-up show ends up being shit. But very, very, very odd to see that Raw this week was actually excellent. I'm not even bullshitting you. Raw this week was actually a very good show from start to finish. It was focused. We had pro wrestling. There was a motto to build up some new stars, and that's exactly what they did, specifically Johnny Gargano and Bronson Reed. We had Elimination Chamber qualifying matches. Things made sense. We had a lot of storyline progression. We had good promos. We had great wrestling. So at the end of the day, it's very, very odd. Royal Rumble being a poorly produced show, and we ended up getting a great Monday Night Raw. And I'm telling you this Raw did more to get me excited about the Elimination Chamber. One show got me more excited about the Elimination Chamber than 2 months worth of a build for the Royal Rumble. And I don't even know how that's possible. And you take a look at what they're doing with the Chamber. The Chamber, it could very well be the best Elimination Chamber pay-per-view of all time if we get the card that I think we're getting. You take a look at the storylines that are going on TV and the matches that we could potentially get for the Chamber. I mean, holy shit. Holy shit. So, Monday Night Raw. Really, really, really good show. Really good show for sure. Cody Rhodes kicked off the show. Big Pyro, as always, great entrance. The crowd were chanting, "You deserve it." And I'm actually happy that he didn't get booed. I'm a little worried that they could very well end up turning Cody Rhodes into 2014 Batista, and Sami Zayn's going to become Bryan Danielson. That was a different story with Bryan Danielson and Batista. Bryan should have always been in the plans, but this is something that I don't think anyone was prepared for. But we're going to talk about Cody Rhodes. Cody got a great pop Great pop, great entrance. Crowd was chanting, "You deserve it." And he goes, "So what do you guys want to talk about?" He talked about changing from when he first started his journey in Ohio Valley Wrestling, and he was very naive. He had these delusions of grandeur. He said, "I'll be the WWE champion inside of 2 years. I'm going to be the next John Cena. And if I could talk to 19-year-old me, what would I tell him? Would I tell him that it's not going to work out that way? Would I tell him that he's going to become dashing Cody Rhodes and win the IC title, paint your face and become less than? Would I tell him that you're going to bleed all over the world? Would I tell him that you are going to lose a 285-pound best friend, but you're going to gain a 6-pound one who just so happens to have the same exact eyes? Or am I going to tell him that on January 28th, you're going to outlast 29 other superstars and punch your ticket to WrestleMania? But truth be told, I would not tell him a single thing, because every broken piece on this long and windy road has been all worthless. Has been all worth it. I say that wrestling has more than one royal family. WWE has more than one royal family. And in order to get to the promised land, I have to stand across from an entire bloodline and face the tribal chief, the LeBron James of this generation. I have to stand across from Roman Reigns. The crowd was chanting, "Roman sucks." He goes, "WrestleMania is in 62 days. And that is 62 days for the rest of my life. At WrestleMania, after Mania, Roman, you can be the tribal chief. You can be the head of the table. You can be the greatest superstar of our generation. But one thing that you will not be is the undisputed WWE Universal Champion." And that was the end of the promo, or so we thought. Judgment Day then came out. No Rhea Ripley. No Rhea Ripley. Finn Balor said, "Are you returning to do something original or knock off all of my old stuff?" Dom then said, "Mommy did what she was supposed to do, but I was supposed to win the men's Royal Rumble." Finn said, "What happened to Ray?" Dom said, "You ruined my moment at the Royal Rumble. And if you did that in prison, you wouldn't be standing here. You would have got." Priest then hyped up Ripley and called Cody the Golden Boy. Dom said, "You owe me an apology." Cody then asked, "Are you trying to scare me right now?" Let me tell you something. I have an immense amount of respect for your dad. Dominic said, "Well, I don't respect anyone's dad, especially your dad." The crowd was chanting to Cody Rhodes, "Kick his ass, kick his ass." Cody then said, "I could play it safe, or I could kick your ass. So I will see any one of you later on tonight. Let's do it." And I would say this was some solid stuff. And I think that Cody Rhodes versus any member of the Judgment Day would be fantastic. I want to see a Cody Rhodes Damian Priest match. I think that would be awesome. I think that'd be great. Now, we thought that we were done here, but we were not. Edge came out of nowhere to run roughshod on the Judgment Day. Cody got involved too, and we get this big brawl, and it looks like we're getting Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley versus Beth Phoenix and Edge at the Elimination Chamber, which I have no problem with. And I'm actually very, very happy that they did not do a Hell in a Cell match at the Royal Rumble, because again, it would have been ass backwards. It would have been ass backwards, and it wouldn't have made no sense if we got a Hell in a Cell match at the Rumble and then a mixed tag team match at the Chamber. But now they're doing it the right way. We're getting the mixed tag team match. I can see Rhea Ripley winning the match by pinning Beth Phoenix. I can see Rhea winning that match by pinning Beth Phoenix, and then we finally get the blow-off with Edge and Finn Balor at WrestleMania inside Hell in a Cell. It makes perfect sense. I have no issue with it. No issue with it at all. I'll tell you what else I didn't have an issue with. Seth Rollins and Chad Gable. This was an Elimination Chamber qualifying match, and Austin Theory is defending the United States title inside the Elimination Chamber, and this is a great idea. And you know why this is a great idea? This is a phenomenal idea Austin Theory defending the title, his title, inside the chamber is going to give a great rub for the United States title. It doesn't need to be for the Intercontinental title, because at the end of the day, the Intercontinental title, that has been made prestigious because of Gunther and what Gunther's doing it. Gunther just lasted 72 minutes in the Royal Rumble. Gunther doesn't need to defend the title inside the chamber. We don't need to make the Intercontinental title a main staple inside the chamber. The U.S. title has not gotten the same exact rub as the Intercontinental title. The U.S. title has kind of been passed around a lot. But with Austin Theory holding the championship, and with Austin Theory defending it inside the chamber, and I do believe he will win the chamber match and go on to WrestleMania to fight who I believe will be John Cena, Austin Theory and his United States title reign is going to be elevated, especially based on the talent that he could potentially beat inside the chamber. It is a fantastic, fantastic move. So we got this match right here with Seth Rollins and Chad Gable, and we got ourselves a very good match. And Chad Gable, I want to see more of Chad Gable. I think Chad Gable has the potential to be the next big breakout star as a singles competitor if they want him to be. He has owned his gimmick, and this was a very good match with Seth Rollins. Gable came out of the gate strong with an O'Connor roll German suplex. That's one of my favorite moves that Chad Gable does, the O'Connor roll German suplex. Diving cannonball off of the apron, back in the ring, flying headbutt by Gable for a 2. Coming back from commercial, Gable worked on the knee of Seth Rollins. Rollins with a deadlift into a buckle bomb. Deadlift buckle bomb. Rollins mounted a comeback, super kick and a Falcon Arrow for a 2. Gable and Rollins traded pinfalls back and forth, back and forth. Rollins was caught into an ankle lock. Rollins was able to get out of it. Gable locked it back in. Rollins reversed it again, rolled through into a pedigree. He rolled Gable over, and Seth Rollins advances to the Elimination Chamber, and he will go and fight for the U.S. title inside the chamber. Once again, very good match. I'm glad that we're getting these qualifying matches, and it makes the U.S. title feel important. It really does. From there, we got Io Sky versus Candice LeRae. We got some very good women's action right here. Really good stuff, and I'm glad that they gave these two the time to go out there and do what they do. So, we got some swift back and forth counters. Candice with a low drop kick, baseball slide drop kick, which looked great. Io with a tope suicida, which looked awesome. Io has a great tope suicida. Candice then came back with a springboard crossbody. Coming back from commercial, we got a missile drop kick by Candice LeRae for a 2. Butterfly backbreaker and a Meteora by Io. Candice then stopped her as she went up to the top. German suplex from the middle rope. That got a 2. Io was caught with a poison Rana for a 2. Io and Candice were on the middle rope. Candice went down. Io went for the over the moonsault, but the knees of Candice LeRae were up. Dakota then caused a distraction. Mia Yim got involved. Codebreaker connects. Bailey then got involved, and Io Sky rolled up LeRae for the win. This was a very good women's match, and guess what? Look at what happened. A champion wins on TV in a non-title match. How about that? Champions win. Champions don't look weak, and they don't lose in non-title matches. Now, isn't that a great thing to see? It's so weird. We didn't get any Vince McMahon isms or Vince McMahon material on this show. It's unbelievable. Nothing. No Vince McMahon shit on this show, and it was a great thing to see. So, I'm not sure where Damage Control goes from here, but I would definitely love to see Damage Control versus Katana Chance and Caden Carter at WrestleMania, and we will inevitably see the women's tag team titles on both brands be combined, and then let that be the end of it, really. Just let that be the end of it. So, from there, Rhea Ripley came out. we got Rhea Ripley, and I do have a lot of shit to say about this, and I think everyone is going to want to strap in because I really, really got a lot of shit I want to get off my chest regarding this. So Rhea Ripley came out. And she was going to make her choice for WrestleMania. So Rhea Ripley said, it's been a while since she's been out there without the Judgment Day crew, but I wanted all of the attention on me. She goes, I outlasted 29 other women to win the Rumble match, and now I get to choose who I want to face at WrestleMania. She talked about Charlotte Flair and the burial that we saw at WrestleMania 36. She didn't say burial, but it was a burial. She goes, the funny thing is that she's always in the title picture. Now, that's a shoot. She advised Charlotte to enjoy everyone bowing down to the Queen because she is going to disrupt the system and all will bow down to her. Charlotte, I choose you. So it would be Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I'm going to take a sip of my ice water. I'm gathering up my thoughts right here. I get asked a fair amount of times. Not all the time. It's not a consistent thing, but I get asked enough. I get people that either talk to me face to face or they message me, they reply to my tweets, they DM me, and they ask me, Dominic, why do you hate Charlotte Flair? And I'm going to try and be a little bit more professional here, although I'm probably going to end up yelling and screaming anyway. But they ask me, Dominic, why do you hate Charlotte Flair so much? To all the people that ask me that, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to answer your question with a question. Why don't you hate Charlotte Flair? I want everyone to think for themselves. Listen, I know in this generation, no one fucking thinks because everyone's a fucking idiot. But I want everyone to think. I know that I have people that like Charlotte Flair. They watch me. I know that they do. I know I have Charlotte Flair fans that watch me. I want you guys to think, and I want you to answer this question genuinely. What is so great about Charlotte Flair? What are the positive aspects about Charlotte Flair? I only can see one. There's only one positive aspect about Charlotte Flair to me, and it's the fact that she's a semi-decent wrestler, at least when she's paired with the right talent. She's a semi-decent wrestler when she's paired with the correct talent. Other than that, I don't see any positives related to Charlotte Flair. She's not a good promo. She sounds like she's reading off cue cards. It's like I'm watching the fucking Weather Channel and I'm watching meteorologists predict the weather. She's fucking boring on the microphone. She's had the same exact character for how long? 8 years? 9 years now? It's the same exact character. She's Charlotte Flair. She's Ric Flair's daughter. She's the queen. There is no difference between Charlotte Flair as a babyface and Charlotte Flair as a heel. The only difference is Charlotte Flair is more cringeworthy as a babyface than a heel. She's not visually appealing either. I'm not saying that she's ugly. I've seen a hell of a lot more ugly individuals, but I mean, the woman looks like she's legitimately made of plastic. I don't know what it is, whether it be too many facelifts or, the fake tits, whatever it may be. She does not look visually pleasing. She's not. I don't know what it is, but if you're asking me, in my opinion, Charlotte Flair is not that attractive of a human being. She's not. So again, what are the positives about Charlotte Flair? Even her wrestling ability is overhyped. She's not the best. She's not even in the top 10 in her own company. Why exactly is Charlotte Flair positioned at the top? I would love for someone to tell me that. It's quite simple. It's quite simple. I don't give a shit how much you want to tell me that this is not the case. I don't give a shit how many times you want to go on and on about how she's earned her place. I don't give a shit. Because the fact of the matter is that nepotism exists. Nepotism exists in this world. It may be an excuse that can be overdone after a while, but I mean, there is no bigger example of nepotism than Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair, you look up nepotism in the dictionary and you will see a picture of Charlotte Flair. I didn't even talk about all the backstage shit yet. I haven't even discussed all the backstage shit yet. But now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty. Now we're getting into the backstage shit. Nepotism exists. And for whatever reason, WWE caters to Charlotte Flair over and over and over again at every chance that they can get. Why? Because she's related to Ric Flair. That's it. She is in the position that she's in because of her last name. I am sorry if you don't like that, but it's the fucking truth. 75% of the accomplishments that Charlotte Flair has, she doesn't fucking deserve. She's a 14-time women's champion, and she's what? She's not even 40 yet. 14-time women's champion. She's going to break her father's record well before her father even established his. Her father's fake record, might I add. Always in the title picture, 14-time women's champion, the first woman to step inside Hell in a Cell, one of the first women to main event WrestleMania. She ended Asuka's undefeated streak, won the Royal Rumble, NXT women's champion, women's tag team champion. What more can you give this woman? Now, maybe if she was a 3-time or a 4-time women's champion, maybe a women's tag team title reign here or there, if she put over Asuka, maybe I would be a little bit more lenient, and I would say, nah, I don't think it's that much nepotism, but I mean, holy shit, look at the accomplishments that she has. I can name you 10 other women in that company that deserve those accomplishments more than her. Now, no woman should have those accomplishments at such a young age in her career. No one should have those types of accomplishments. And how long do they have left in the business? She has 9 years left? At most 10 years left in the fucking business? She doesn't look like she's slowing down. She doesn't look injured. She looks like she has all the time in the world left to accomplish her father's record and some. Why exactly does she have the accomplishments that she has right now? Nepotism. I don't care. I don't care whether you like it or not. It's the fucking truth. It's the fucking truth. WWE bends over backwards. They bend over, they drop their pants, and they take Charlotte Flair's figurative dick so far up their ass that I don't even know where they end and Charlotte Flair begins. I don't. I really don't know what to tell you. And then on top of that, here's another thing that a lot of people are going to have to get through their thick fucking skulls. It may be a tough pill to swallow. But it's something that you're going to have to understand and you're going to have to deal with. You're going to have to get with the program sooner rather than later. Whether you want to admit it or not, backstage politics has been the name of the game in professional wrestling. Backstage politics has always been a prominent deal in pro wrestling since the 80s, since the Hogan era. Backstage politics has been a thing in professional wrestling for God knows how many years. Professional wrestling is a backstage political sport. If you know the connections, if you're a big star, if management likes you, you are going to be catered to. It is a very, very rare case in which backstage politics don't play a factor into what's going on TV. There's even backstage politics in AEW. They're not that bad. Now, comparing backstage politics from WWE and AEW, it's like It's like apples and oranges. It's like apples and oranges. In AEW, yeah, it's there. It's there, but it's not staring you right in the face like it is with WWE. But at the end of the day, backstage politics has always been the name of the game. And I don't care what you say. I don't care how many people that you've heard this shit from. Charlotte Flair is a backstage politicker. Charlotte Flair, she may be a blonde, but she ain't a fucking dumbass. She may be blonde, but she's not stupid. She knows that WWE caters to her. She knows that WWE would do anything and everything for her. So she uses that to her advantage. She uses that to her advantage. She doesn't care about the division. She doesn't care about the betterment of women's wrestling. She doesn't care about any other women in that division. All she cares about is herself. All she cares about is herself. How many matches has Charlotte Flair been involved in that she should have lost, but she won anyway? She had the power to stand up to WWE and tell them, I don't think I should win this match. Or I think the other women should go over. I think we need to get new blood in the division. I think we need to establish new stars. And don't tell me that she has no power backstage. Do not fucking tell me that she doesn't. This is Charlotte Flair. With the way that they cater to her and the fact that backstage politics is the name of the game, you would have to be a fucking moron to tell me that Charlotte Flair does not have power backstage. Charlotte Flair is one of their golden gooses right behind Becky Lynch. She could easily say, I don't want to do this or I don't want to do that. And if they keep pushing and pushing and pushing, if she keeps pushing, inevitably WWE will give in. What are they going to do? Fire her? Charlotte Flair could go out on live television and punt a kitten. She could punt a kitten into the crowd and she would receive nothing more than a slap on the wrist. The woman is bulletproof. The woman could slap Vince McMahon in the face and she would get away with it. Charlotte Flair is the most powerful woman in WWE behind Becky Lynch. She does not give a shit about the division. How many matches have we been talking about that she should have lost, but she won anyway? What about the triple threat match at WrestleMania 32? You don't think Charlotte had some pull? You don't think Charlotte could have easily said to WWE, no, I don't want to go over. I think that Sasha should go over here. I'm already a made woman. I'm Ric Flair's daughter. She won. Sasha should have won that match. Charlotte won. What about Hell in a Cell? Hell in a Cell match with Sasha Banks in Boston. In Boston, Sasha's hometown. Should have been Sasha Banks going over. No, they gave it to Charlotte Flair. What about Asuka? Asuka and Charlotte, WrestleMania 34. Should have put over Asuka. No, they didn't do it. No. She ended Asuka's undefeated streak. And it did nothing for either woman. What about the 2020 Women's Royal Rumble? Should have been Shayna Baszler winning the Royal Rumble. Shayna Baszler should have won that Royal Rumble. But Charlotte Flair, being the egotistical bitch that she is, no, I don't want to get eliminated by an NXT superstar. She could have easily said, even if it was always the plan to have Charlotte Flair win, she could have easily said, no, I think Shayna Baszler should go over. This is a great way to establish her and make her into a beast. Make her into a prime time superstar to be taken seriously going forward. No, Charlotte Flair won the Royal Rumble. What about WrestleMania 36? Should have put over Rhea Ripley. She buried her at WrestleMania 36. Then she buried her again. She buried her again at Money in the Bank 2021. What about this past December? What about on the last SmackDown of 2022? And the great performance that Raquel Rodriguez gave to us. Raquel made herself into something, giving Ronda her best match since the match with Sasha Banks. And then Charlotte Flair swoops in, wins the championship from Ronda in about 50 seconds, and erases all of the hard work that Raquel did to make herself into something. How many fucking times have we been sitting here saying Charlotte should have lost, Charlotte should have lost, Charlotte should have lost, but all she does is win and win and win. WWE bends over backwards for her, and Charlotte Flair uses WWE to her advantage. All all the cards are in Charlotte Flair's favor. And please do not fucking tell me that she does care about the division or she's friends with people. She's not. Oh, she's friends with Bianca. Oh, she's friends with Sasha. Oh, she's friends with this woman or that woman. She loves this. She loves Roxanne Perez. She loves this woman, that woman. Oh, she doesn't. Oh, she fucking doesn't. If you have not been paying attention, all you need to do is look at what happens on TV. Charlotte Flair truthfully cared about the division and she was truthfully supportive of other women. She would advocate for them, but she doesn't. She doesn't. I want everyone to understand this right here. And I know that there's people from WWE that are watching me. I know that there's going to be women's wrestlers from WWE that are going to be watching me right now. I want you to listen. I want you to listen closely, whoever's watching me. If Charlotte Flair tells you that you are her friend, here's a newsflash for you. Charlotte Flair is not your friend. She is manipulating you. She has always been a manipulator. Why? Because then, when the other women, like a Bianca or a Roxanne or a Tegan Knox or a Candice LeRae or whoever the fuck Charlotte Flair is friends with, when they are not getting the opportunities that we know that they should be getting, when they do not get the opportunities that we know they should be getting, they're going to say, oh, it has something to do with creative. I'm going to go after creative and I'm going to blame creative. Meanwhile, Charlotte Flair has just as much to do with why they are not in primetime spots just as much as WWE creative. Why? Because Charlotte has the power to advocate for them and Charlotte has the power to have those women go over. She can push to have those women go over, but she doesn't. Some of these friends that she has, she buried on live TV. She buried Shayna. She buried Sasha. She buried Rhea. Some of these friends that she has, she is treated like shit on live television. Meanwhile, if she truthfully cared about them and the division, she would go to creative and say, you know what? No. These women should go over because I've already had my time. Charlotte Flair has always been in the title picture. She has never, ever been in the undercard. Never been in the undercard helping others get over. And I know there's going to be some fucking morons that are going to come into my mention and go, well, the DJ, you can't say that. You can't listen to all these people. You can't judge what's going on TV. She is friends with these individuals. She's not manipulative. She's not trying to take their spot. But you don't know. I know. You don't know. I see. I sense. I feel the vibe. I am one of the individuals that actually dissects this shit as if my life depends on it. I take 20 pages worth of notes every fucking day. I don't need the dirt sheets. I don't need fans coming to me. I don't need anybody telling me what to say or what to think, telling me that I don't know. I know. You know who doesn't know? You don't know. Because if you knew, you'd be saying what I'm saying. I know. All I need to do is watch. All you need to do is watch. All you need to do is sense. All you need to do is think. Fucking think for once in your pathetic lives. Just think. Think. What happens backstage is a direct reflection on what happens out on TV. It's a political game. Charlotte Flair has always been manipulative, and over the years, her ego inflated and inflated and inflated. It wasn't as inflated as when she first started, regardless of the fact that she was Ric Flair's daughter. But the fact that WWE kept on catering to her, WWE created a monster. WWE created a monster, and WWE created an egotistical, slimy motherfucker by the name of Ashley Flair. She's just as bad as Hogan. She's just as bad as the Fabulous Moolah. She's just as bad as the Ultimate Warrior. So I say, after all of that shit rolled up into one, the nepotism, the backstage politics, the fact that she has power, and don't you dare fucking tell me how she does it. She does. All that shit rolled up into one. All that shit rolled up into one. Nepotism, the burials, the backstage power, the refusing to advocate for individuals. And I know for a fact that she's a fucking manipulator because she refuses to let anyone, even her friends, go over. Everything about her screams fake. Everything about her screams fake. So to answer your question, why do I hate Charlotte Flair? Because Charlotte Flair is a selfish, manipulative, egotistical bitch. That's why I hate her. You don't believe me? There's even backstage politics going on with this shit right here. There's even backstage politics going on with this shit with Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley was going to choose Bianca. Rhea Ripley was going to choose Bianca, and there is no one on this fucking planet that's going to convince me otherwise. Ripley was going to choose Bianca. She didn't. You know why? Charlotte Flair politicked to WWE to have Ripley choose her. Why? What happened last year? Charlotte Flair caught wind that WWE was going to bring back Ronda Rousey. Charlotte Flair caught wind that WWE was going to bring back Ronda Rousey, and WWE was going to have Ronda Rousey in the prime spotlight going into WrestleMania season. And for all we know, Ronda was probably going to face Becky, and Bianca probably would have never gotten her moment. What did Charlotte Flair do? What did she do? Charlotte Flair politicked to WWE. She went to WWE, she played ball, and she fiddled with the system. Charlotte Flair went to WWE and politicked her way to getting a match with Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania because she knew that she was going to be in the main event of night number 1. She knew she was going to main event WrestleMania night number 1 against Ronda Rousey. But what happened? I'll tell you what happened. Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out of retirement after 19 years away and does a Kevin Owens show with Kevin Owens in the main event of WrestleMania Night 1, which results in him having his first match ever since WrestleMania 19. And Kevin Owens and Stone Cold Steve Austin put on a very, very fun brawl in the main event of WrestleMania Night 1. And Stone Cold Steve Austin snubbed Charlotte Flair out of the main event of WrestleMania Night number 1 last year. And I could not have been happier. I was smiling from ear to ear. I was laughing like the fucking Joker. Do you think Charlotte Flair was going to allow that shit to just brush right off? Do you think that Charlotte Flair was going to allow that shit to just go untouched and go unresolved? No. Charlotte Flair woke up every single fucking day for the last year with anger, regret, and fucking aggravation because she knew that she was snubbed. She knew that she had a guaranteed ticket to main event WrestleMania, and Stone Cold Steve Austin fucked her over. He fucked her in the ass. And Charlotte Flair was relegated to the second to last match. You think that Charlotte Flair was going to let that go? Of course not. She's vindictive. She's a vindictive cunt. She was never going to let it go. So what did she do? She was the SmackDown Women's Champion. She comes back. Wins the title. Rhea wins the Rumble. She pitches to WWE. She politics to WWE to get the match with Rhea at WrestleMania. Why? Simply because she wants to rectify the supposed mistake that happened last year. But it wasn't a mistake. The only mistake was having Charlotte Flair wrestle Ronda Rousey to begin with at WrestleMania. But now she's looking to rectify the supposed mistake that happened last year. There's no Stone Cold to save us. He already said no. Stone Cold's not coming back to save us. There's nothing stopping Charlotte Flair from going to main event WrestleMania 39 against Rhea Ripley in SoFi Stadium night number 1. There's nothing stopping her. She held on to that grudge for a year, and she politicked her way into getting the match with Rhea Ripley, and she got it. She got it. She got what she asked for. So based on that, based on the fact that there's already politics going on. Do you honestly believe that Charlotte Flair is going to lay down and do the right thing? No, I'm fucking scared. I'm concerned that she's going to bury Rhea Ripley for a record third time. Yes, the story is there. Yes, it ties up loose ends. Yes, it tells a very nice angle that extends back from, 3 years ago? It is long-term storytelling. I'm not going to tell you that it's not. But the main reason why is because Charlotte Flair, she wants to make up for what happened last year. She was fucked over last year in her eyes because of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold's not coming back, and no one is stopping her from main eventing WrestleMania night number 1 against Rhea Ripley. No one. Plain and simple. So for the people that want to ask me, why do I hate Charlotte Flair? Combined with the nepotism, combined with the burials, burying Rhea Ripley, burying Shayna Baszler, burying Sasha Banks, refusing to lose when she should have lost, politicking her way into a match with Rhea Ripley this year because Stone Cold Steve Austin snubbed her out of WrestleMania last year. You roll all of that up into one. Why do I hate Charlotte Flair? Because Charlotte Flair is a piece of shit. And that is the stone cold truth. You don't like it? Make like your mother and suck my cock. I had to get that out. I really needed to get that out. I've been waiting for the whole entire week virtually to get that out, I'm telling you. If anyone refutes anything that I just said, which, by the way, everything I just said is irrefutable. You want to refute anything that I just said, you can gladly take your sweaty, hairy asses right out the door because I have no time for your retardation. I'd like to hope that I educated the lot of you, and I'd like to hope that many of you are going to be well aware as to why I hate Charlotte Flair. And maybe I opened a couple of people's eyes. But knowing the individuals in the IWC, I'd say probably not, because the majority of people, minus myself, of course, everyone's a fucking retard. Really. So I have no respect for anyone. We're going to move on with Monday Night Raw. I got sidetracked. I think I ran a fucking half hour? Holy shit. We had Johnny Gargano and Baron Corbin. This was an Elimination Chamber qualifying match. And we got another very good match. And we got the right outcome, too. So Gargano was out there with Loomis. Corbin caught Gargano with a punch. And then he chokeslammed Gargano into the barricade, which looked brutal. Coming back from commercial, Johnny Gargano with a slingshot spear. That got a 2. Super kick by Gargano. Second one for a 2. Enziguri by Gargano. Deep 6 by Corbin for a 2. Corbin was sent into the post. Tope Suicida by Gargano. Loomis then stalked JBL. Gargano reversed the end of days into a small cradle. And Gargano is going to the Elimination Chamber. And I could not be happier about that. Gargano beats Corbin. Very good match. And we are going to see an Elimination Chamber with Gargano, Rollins, and Theory so far. There was one more Chamber qualifying match that happened a little bit later on in the show, which we will talk about. The VIP Lounge with MVP. He introduced U.S. Champion Austin Theory. So Austin Theory, he was wearing shades. He was talking about the VIP Lounge is now Austin Theory Live. The crowd booed him heavily. MVP and Theory were having a little bit of a war of words. He talked about how he was F5'd off the chamber, but he survived because he is more ruthless than any of this generation ever could be. MVP said that Theory is scared that he's not letting anyone know. And you never know who's going to be in the chamber. MVP called Lashley more dangerous than The Undertaker to Austin Theory, that is. Theory then said, you should be worrying about Bobby Lashley's health because he's about to get chewed up and spit out by Brock Lesnar. Bobby Lashley then came out. MVP tried to calm Lashley down, but they ultimately got into a brawl, did Lashley and Theory. And then Theory pulled MVP into a spear by Lashley, and Theory got out of Dodge. I'm not really sure what this is going to result in, but I'd like to hope in some way, shape, or form it is going to result in a Hurt Business reunion, because we desperately, desperately need that. We really do. The Miz. Miz came out complaining about how he wasn't being showcased at Raw 30 and then being attacked by KO. He was complaining about having a bad number in the Rumble, and he got eliminated first. He wants to be treated with respect, blah, blah, blah. Then all of a sudden, Adam Pearce came out and he said he's got a man for him to wrestle who's wanted an opportunity, the newest member of the Monday Night Raw roster, Rick Boogs. And my God, did Rick Boogs look great. Miz didn't know what to make of him. Pearce made a match. You gotta love Boogs. Boogs won with the military press slam. And I love me some Rick Boogs. And you know what? Boogs is over. Crowd loves Rick Boogs. They really do. And you know what? It is going to be a great thing to see, because Rick Boogs, I think he could be a great babyface when he challenges Austin Theory. I think Rick Boogs is very, very entertaining. So you know what? This is a great thing. Very, very happy to see Rick Boogs back on TV. And Rick Boogs, he is now a part of the Monday Night Raw roster, and it should be interesting to see what he has in store for Monday Night Raw. Let me get a Rick Boogs in the chat. So they replayed the Bloodline segment at the end of the Royal Rumble, which was fantastic, and we are headed towards a fantastic story with Sami Zayn and the Usos and Kevin Owens and the Bloodline. It's been great. Sami Zayn and this storyline, it has taken a completely different turn, and it is going to be great. I can't wait for the Chamber. Bayley came out to address the crowd. The crowd booed heavily. Bayley revealed what she did, or she reveled rather, didn't reveal. She reveled in what she did last week. She talked about Damage Control's performance in the Rumble and how she eliminated Becky. She is done with Becky, but Becky came out and she said, "Shut up, Bayley. We're not done until the man says we're done. I just wanted to make sure that you didn't win the Rumble." And then Bayley says, "Excuses, excuses." Becky said, "No, Bayley, you're the one making excuses because you don't want to go one-on-one with me." Bayley then said, "You have to make everything about you, huh?" Bayley then said, "I think you're overrated. You're not good enough to be champion or beat me, and you're not good enough for your husband, Seth Rollins. The only reason why he married you is because he knocked you up." I mean, Bayley, I think Bayley won the fucking show with that comment. I thought that was hilarious. So Becky then said, "I thought we were just fighting over wrestling. You know, this all started in Orlando when we were in NXT. I'd say let's end it in Orlando next week in the steel cage match that we should have had." Bayley then said, "No." Becky then said, "You know, I had a feeling you would say that. Hold on." She dragged out Io Sky. And Dakota Kai. Dakota Kai had her leg and her ankle in a steel chair. Bayley threatened to crush her ankle in the chair before Bayley accepted. Becky then said, "Thank you, but you might want to go check on your partner, Io Sky, in the back." I liked it. It was straightforward. It was simple. It was focused. And we finally get the steel cage match that we should be getting. I like it. I got no issue with that. Adam Pearce, he announced at the Chamber that there will also be a women's #1 contenders chamber to see who's going to fight Bianca. And I love what they did here. The first 4 participants are Asuka, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and Nikki Cross. And the reason why I love this is because this is making the Royal Rumble feel more important. Because if you guys remember, Rhea Ripley won the Royal Rumble, but those 4 women were the final 4 participants outside of Rhea Ripley in the Women's Royal Rumble. So what did Pierce do? Pierce took the last 4 women that were in the Royal Rumble after Rhea Ripley won, and Pierce put them in the chamber. I thought that was a great move. I thought that was an excellent move. I'd like to see that going forward. Great move right there. And it makes sense. You lasted up until the final 5 in the Royal Rumble. Rhea may have won, but you still have a chance to go to WrestleMania by getting through the chamber, so you get your spot. And we get a fatal 4-way next week with Michin, Mia Yim, Piper Niven, Carmella, and Candice LeRae, which should be great. And that should be great. And the one thing that I love about this the most is there's 3 SmackDown women and 3 Raw women in this match. What's great about it is it honestly makes me feel that WWE could be ending the brand split, and I hope that they do. The brand split is not needed. We need one roster shared across both Raw and SmackDown. If you want to keep the 2 women's championships, you absolutely can, but we need one universal roster. That is the way to go. So if we have 3 SmackDown women in this match, and the SmackDown women are competing to fight for a Raw title, it gives me hope, just a little bit of hope, that the brand split could be ending. And I really hope that's the case. I really do. I think that is a great move. Dolph Ziggler versus Bronson Reed. Elimination Chamber qualifying match. This went very quick. Ziggler with the typical Ziggler offense, jumping DDT, zigzag, that got a 2. Reed won this match very quickly. He reversed the Famouser into a powerbomb, tsunami splash, and Reed wins in rather convincing fashion. Bronson Reed wins rather convincing fashion, and I'm not even bullshitting you. I think that with the talent involved, and then next week we got Elias and Montez Ford, and then Damian Priest and Angelo Dawkins, and if we get Priest and Ford in the match, I honestly do believe that we could be in for one of, if not one of the best chambers that we've ever seen. I honestly do believe with the talent in that match, Theory, Reed, Rollins, Gargano, then you add Priest and you add Montez Ford, that right there, just based on the talent alone, could very well be one of the best chamber matches that we've seen. I got no issue with that whatsoever. And then in the main event, we got Cody Rhodes and Finn Balor. Which was another very good match. Cody took over early on. Cody with an uppercut. Finn stomped on the pec, the injured pec of Cody Rhodes. Finn with a PK right to the pec for a 2. Cody with a disaster kick. Tope Suicida, he took out Priest and Dom. Nice power slam for a 2 on Finn. Balor with the Eye of the Hurricane for a 2. Coming back from commercial, Cody with a big stalling superplex. And then a Cody cutter. Balor kicked out. Balor with the sling blade. Super kick by Rhodes. Balor kicked out. Cody sent to the floor. Edge came out. Through the crowd. Attacked the Judgment Day. Spear to Dom. Ripley attacked Edge. Phoenix came out. His wife, Beth Phoenix, spear to Ripley. Double stomp by Balor. Shotgun drop kick. In the ring, the coup de grace missed. Cody Rhodes. Crossroads. Second Crossroads. Third Crossroads. And I'm glad that it took 3 Crossroads to put down Finn Balor. Cody Rhodes beats Finn Balor in what was a very good main event to cap off what was a very good episode of Monday Night Raw. More of this shit, please. We need stakes to the show. We need focus to the show. We need a full-blown, legit build to the show. We need legit stories, and that's exactly what we got. And Cody and Edge, they add a lot to the show. They really do. And we got a very good show, so I can't complain about it. Very good show, no Vince McMahonisms, and it was straightforward. No problem with it whatsoever. We are getting down to the home stretch here. We got 2 more shows to go over. Once again, I did not talk about Dynamite specifically because me and Earl, we talked about Dynamite on the rundown. If you want to go and watch that, the link is in the description. Please go check out the rundown for NXT Vengeance Day before tonight because we talked about the show tonight and we also talked about the happenings on Dynamite from this past Wednesday. So if you want our thoughts, please go and watch that right now. You are not going to regret it. SmackDown. SmackDown wasn't as good as Raw. We did get some decent wrestling. We did get some storyline advancement. We did get a little bit of Elimination Chamber build, but not as good as SmackDown. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't overly terrible, but really wasn't all that memorable either. SmackDown started off with Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus Imperium. This was a number 1 contenders tournament finals match to see who would face the Usos next week for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. Vinci, he is a fucking maniac, is Vinci. He dove over the top onto Strowman. Strowman was then isolated by Imperium before Ricochet got the hot tag, running shooting star press for a 2. Ricochet was launched by Strowman over the top onto Imperium. Gunther pushed Ricochet, and then the ref ended up ejecting Gunther, so Gunther was out of here. Ricochet was then isolated. Nice brainbuster by Vinci. Strowman saved it. Ricochet got to Strowman. Big Beal to Kaiser. Monster Bomb tagged to Ricochet. Ricochet with a Swanton Bomb off of Strowman's shoulders. And Strowman and Ricochet win what was probably the second best thing on the show. Very good tag team match. And Strowman and Ricochet get the match against the Usos for the SmackDown tag team titles next week. And it should be a very fun match for what we are going to get. And I think Braun Strowman is actually being used perfectly. This is probably the best use of Braun Strowman that I've ever seen. And Braun Strowman, I don't mind him on TV. I actually think that Braun Strowman is actually a decent asset to TV. He's been putting on great matches. He hasn't been overexposed. He hasn't been put in any scenarios where he shouldn't be put in. And this tag team with Ricochet is actually very entertaining. So I don't mind Strowman. I don't mind Strowman whatsoever on TV. They replayed a highlight from NASCAR, the Daytona Cup Series that's going to be taking place. Rey Mysterio and the New Day were at the Daytona Cup Series. The Judgment Day ran in, and Rey and Dominic had a war of words as they were racing on the NASCAR track. They were trash-talking each other while driving. Rey ended up winning the race. Dominic then threw his helmet at Rey, and we inevitably are headed towards potentially a Rey versus Dominic match at WrestleMania, and that would be picture-perfect long-term booking right there. So Dominic clearly is not staying out of Rey Mysterio's business, and it's going to be interesting to see how this match at WrestleMania, if it is to happen, how it inevitably plays out. Sonya Deville versus Charlotte Flair. I already did my huge rant about Charlotte Flair, so I'm not really going to spend too much time on this. Charlotte Flair retains, as expected. Sonya and Charlotte Flair do not work very well together whatsoever. I've seen worse wrestling matches, that's for sure. I've seen worse wrestling matches, but this was very, very unmemorable. Very, very lame. You do not need to go back and rewatch it whatsoever. And Charlotte Flair wins, cringy as ever with the babyface shit. And that's pretty much that. I don't really want to talk about Charlotte Flair anymore. I'd be happy if Charlotte Flair was to retire tomorrow. I really would be. This ended up getting, what, like 15 minutes? We got a lot of wrestling on the show, which is fine. But, I mean, holy shit. I mean, it's bad enough I see Charlotte Flair for 15 seconds on my TV. Now I got to deal with her for 15 minutes? Shit. The Brawling Brutes. This is Ridge Holland and Butch versus the Viking Raiders, and I like this. I like this, and this is a great thing to see because it is storyline continuation. You already got Drew and Sheamus feuding with the Viking Raiders. So now the Viking Raiders are going to beat Butch and Ridge Holland. So the Viking Raiders win control. Ridge tagged in, and I got to say, I'm liking what Ridge is doing. I think Ridge Holland is very, very good. Ridge Holland with a nice exploder to Eric, belly to belly throw. This shit was impressive right here. Ridge Holland picked up Ivar. Now, Ivar is 300 pounds. 300 pounds. He's a big, meaty man. And Ridge Holland picked him up and delivered a beautiful Alabama slam as if it was nothing. As if it was nothing. And he powered him up as if it was nothing. Wildly fucking impressive. So, Butch came in, and Ivar turned Butch, or not Ivar, Eric turned Butch inside out with a clothesline and a knee. That got a 2. Butch then up on the top rope, Hurricane Rana to Ivar. Ivar kicked out. Ivar then caught Butch mid-moonsault. Butch with a moonsault. Ivar caught him mid-moonsault, and he caught Butch, dropped him, spin kick on Ridge, tag again, and they hit the Ragnarok. The Ragnarok, which is a double powerbomb on Butch, and 1, 2, 3, and they win. 1, 2, 3, and Butch and Ridge Holland lose to the Viking Raiders. Decent little match right here. Viking Raiders looked good. And then afterwards, Drew and Sheamus then came out afterwards. We get a big brawl, and Drew and Sheamus stood tall, and it looks like we're probably headed towards a big hoss fight of a tag team match, which is going to take place at the Elimination Chamber, and I don't have a single issue with that. I think that's going to be great, and I think that this is the best that the Viking Raiders have looked on the main roster. I think that it's going to be a great, hard-hitting match, so I don't have an issue with that. Shotzi, Zelina Vega, Shayna Baszler, and Natalya. This was an Elimination Chamber qualifying match, and I think it was safe to say that we all kind of expected the outcome that we got here. Vega, I don't know what Vega did, but I don't mind Vega in the ring. I think Vega got a little better in the ring. She was the Spanish Alexa Bliss from the last time that we saw her. She really was. She was the Spanish version of Alexa Bliss. Now, I'm looking at her and I'm like, she's not that bad. She's not that bad. She has a very nice code red. She's a very nice moonsault. Better than Charlotte Flair, that's for sure. So I don't mind Zelina Vega in a wrestling role. I don't. So Baszler was trying to take out everyone. Coming back from commercial, we had a suicide dive by Shotzi on Shayna. Moonsault by Vega onto Shayna and Shotzi. Tiger suplex on Vega by Shotzi. German suplex by Baszler on Shotzi. Kirifuda clutch on Vega. Kirifuda clutch on Natalya. Zelina Vega took out Shayna Baszler. And Natalya got the sharpshooter in on Vega. And Natalya wins. The obligatory Natalya gets a big match in Canada is starting to come around once again. Meanwhile, I don't think even the Canadians give a shit about Natalya. I really don't. Who gives a shit about Natalya, really? Not a bad match, but I mean, holy shit. No one gives a fuck about Natalya. Nobody. She's boring. She's shit. Roman was talking to the Bloodline, no Jey Uso, and no one could get into contact with Jey Uso. Nobody could get in contact with Jey Uso. Roman sent Jimmy and Solo to the bus, and they were going to have a nice dinner while he goes out to the ring and handles his business. So Roman Reigns went out to address the WWE Universe. The crowd chanted Sammy. He said he'd rather sit here and talk about Cody Rhodes, someone that actually deserves my attention, but you've reduced me to talking about the past. So I'll talk about Sammy. He goes, I saw everything I needed to see at War Games. I saw greed. I saw the same thing I see in everyone. I gave Sammy the opportunity of a lifetime and he used me. You can't ever give back. None of you can. So then, as he was talking mid-sentence, Sami Zayn comes out of nowhere, attacks Roman Reigns. Reigns fights back, Heyman gives him a chair. Sami Zayn with a beautiful spear on Roman. Sami Zayn speared Roman Reigns. A beautiful spear, might I add. Sami was going to hit Roman with the chair. Roman got out of dodge. He took the mic and he goes, "Roman, you're wrong about me. I never wanted anything from you until now. I am coming for you and the undisputed WWE Universal Championship." Jimmy and Solo then attacked Sami. Solo with the Samoan spike. Solo went for the hip attack with the chair wrapped around Sami Zayn's head. Roman stopped him. Roman Reigns stopped him. Roman then said, "You want something from me, but I'm going to get some from you. You broke up my family, and I gave you the keys to the kingdom, so you're going to give me what I want. I want you in Montreal, and I'm going to break you in front of your family, your friends, your hometown, and I will see you soon." Now, first off, this segment was excellent. First off, this segment was fantastic. This segment was excellent. This segment was very, very good, and the tension is building to a fever pitch, and I'm loving every fucking minute of it. I am. I am really, really happy that we are getting this angle with Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns. But there's a glaring issue here. When I was watching this segment, and I wasn't really worried about it at the Royal Rumble. I really wasn't worried about it, but now I'm a little worried. What I saw here was not an Elimination Chamber build. You know what I felt? I felt as if this was a WrestleMania build. I legit felt as if this was a WrestleMania build. It is very, very hard for me to tell you that Cody Rhodes should be the one that's fighting Roman Reigns over Sami Zayn. Now, I think the match at the Elimination Chamber is going to be a match of the year candidate. I think that match is going to be beyond what any of us could have ever expected. And it is certainly going to be a heartbreaking moment when Sami loses. The one thing that WWE needs to do is they need to play their cards right. At the Chamber, we need to have Jey Uso fuck over Sami Zayn in the end. Jey Uso fucks over Sami, which transfers the heat from Roman to Jey. Owens needs to come out at the Elimination Chamber, and we need to get Owens and Zayn embracing at the Chamber, leading towards the Usos versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. That's what we need. We need that. And we need that now. Because if we don't get that, if we don't get it just like that, where Roman can go and focus on Cody, I'm telling you, it is not going to work out. And we could very well be looking at another Bryan Danielson situation where they may have no choice but to put Sami Zayn in the main event of WrestleMania and give Sami Zayn the fucking title. It is going to be very, very, very interesting to see how this plays out. But the fact that Sami Zayn did what he did, and he got a pop. He got that pop of a fucking Rock, of a fucking John Cena, of a fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin in South Carolina, fucking Hicksville, South Carolina. If he got a pop like that in South Carolina, I mean, holy shit. Sami Zayn is the biggest babyface in all of pro wrestling right now. He is. How is anyone going to cheer Cody over Sami? It's going to be very, very, very difficult. But I thought this segment was great. And if anything, this was probably the only thing on SmackDown worth going back to watch. It was this and the opening match. It's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. But I'm telling you, the Elimination Chamber is looking fantastic. I think this is going to be probably one of the best Elimination Chamber matches. And it's going to be one of the best Elimination Chamber shows that we've ever fucking seen. Hooligan, thank you for joining. Please go back and rewatch my huge rant on Charlotte Flair. I ranted for a half hour on this whole Charlotte Flair ordeal, and you are really, really going to want to go back and rewatch it. I think you'll enjoy it very much. Like I said, no Dynamite review because I talked about it with Earl on Thursday. So we are going to end the Lightning Flash update by talking about Rampage. And Rampage was a very good show. We got some very good wrestling on AEW Rampage. And once again, I'm going to tell you, it's not where it needs to be. Rampage is not where it needs to be yet. But compared to where it was, I think that Tony Khan has definitely gotten Rampage back on track. It's not perfect. We definitely still need a little better time management. But ultimately, in the end, we got some really, really great wrestling on Rampage. We got some major stars. We got some storylines continuing. We got the new stars that should be on TV. They're being pushed. So at the end of the day, I can't really sit here and tell you that Rampage is a bad show because it's not. It's not. The show kicked off with what was a great trios match. Went about 16 minutes, this trios match. It was the Elite, this is Omega, and the Bucks versus Ethan Page, Matt Hardy, and Isaiah Cassidy. This was for the AEW World Trios Championships, and I'm happy that we're getting the Elite on Rampage, and I'm very, very happy that we're getting these major matches on Rampage just like that because it's a really great thing to see. It really is. I want to see big matches. I want to see big stars. I want to see major individuals on Rampage, and I want to see importance on Rampage. And we did get some importance. You could say whatever you want about this storyline with Ethan Page and Matt Hardy, but this was a great match. It really was. It was a great match. So Omega and Hardy got into it a little bit. Page tried to come in, and he tried to isolate Omega. That's a match I would like to see. Omega and Ethan Page. That sounds very interesting. Tag to Nick Jackson. Drop kick to Matt Hardy. Double elbows to Cassidy. Wrecking ball drop kick and a spaceman plancha by the Bucks. Hardy then took over with a side effect on Matt Jackson for a 2. Coming back from commercial, Hardy with an alley-oop powerbomb on Jackson for a 2. Tag to Page. Tag to Omega. Big crossbody on Page. He lit up Page. He delivered the You Can't Escape moonsault. That got a 2. Omega was triple teamed. We had a double super kick on Cassidy. Double super kick on Cassidy. And we had double swantons by Orange Cassidy, Isaiah Cassidy and Nick Jackson. They delivered double swantons onto Omega and Hardy. Then we had a super kick by Matt, a big slam by Page, V-trigger by Omega. Hardy and Page took out Matt, Jackson, and Omega. Canadian Destroyer by Cassidy. We had triple team action by Ethan Page's group. Hardy with a twist of fate. Nick Jackson sold it as if he broke his neck, which looked great. Matt Jackson saved it. Hardy accidentally hit Page. We had a big cutter by Cassidy. Nick Jackson kicked out. V-trigger by Omega, one-winged angel, and then the BTE trigger, and the Elite retain in what was a great trios match to kick off the show. And this is the type of action that I want to see on Rampage. Great in-ring action, and that's what we got. To answer your question, Angry Crusader, I would absolutely love to see Robert Roode at WrestleMania. I think that Robert Roode is great, and if we get the glorious Robert Roode back, I think that he would be a great representative for the Intercontinental Championship. I would love to see that. Swerve Strickland versus Brian Pillman Jr. A decent little match right here, nothing too crazy. Pillman looked good, Swerve looked good, and Swerve ended up getting the win as he should. So they had a nice back and forth here. Nice wrecking ball drop kick. Coming back from commercial, Pillman tried to mount a comeback. Swerve with a nice right hand. Backbreaker by Swerve. Pillman came back with a super kick for 2. Swerve kicked the knee out from underneath Pillman. So the knee was being sold by Pillman. Swerve with the house call, that side kick, that house call, Pillman kicked out. Parker Boudreaux then took out Pillman from behind the referee's back. Swerve with a Death Valley driver on the apron. to Pillman. Swerve then with the Swerve Stomp, and Swerve ends up getting the win. And my God, does Swerve look good? Swerve right now, he is fucking killing it right now with this heel roll. And I can't wait to see him and Keith Lee. I think it's going to be a fantastic match. Afterwards, the Mogul affiliates attacked, and Parker Boudreaux absolutely decapitated Brian Pillman with a wicked lariat. Afterwards, Dustin Rhodes came out, saved Pillman from an attack, and it looks like we're getting Dustin Rhodes and Swerve Strickland probably on Rampage next week. And I got a good feeling that that could be when we see the return of Keith Lee. I think that that's when we see the return of Keith Lee, and I have no issue with that. Danielle Wolf, to answer your question, no, I don't think that he is going to reunite with Matt and Mike. No, I don't think he is. I think Adam Cole is going to be solo. I think Adam Cole is going to be on his own. I think Adam Cole is going to be solo, and Adam Cole is inevitably going to challenge either the TNT or the All-Atlantic Champion when all is said and done. But I would like to see a babyface Adam Cole versus a heel MJF down the line when the time is right. But Dustin Rhodes and Swerve Strickland, that could be a match next week on Rampage, and I believe that is when we will see the return of Keith Lee. Toni Storm and Saraya, they took on the Renegade Twins, and I like me some of the Renegade Twins. I think the Renegade Twins are very, very good at what they do. I think they're very, very solid. I think they can hold their own. They know how to wrestle. They're very good. They're very, very good. So you know what? More Renegade Twins on TV, please. So Toni Storm and Saraya, I was a little skeptical, to say the least. I was a little skeptical about the heel turn, but you know what? I'm liking what the heel turn is doing. I think that they're playing their roles well. They come off very, very cocky. They come off like bitches, and they're looking good in the ring. So you know what? I can't really complain. So they were acting very heelish. They were sending Robin Renegade into the steps in the barricade. We had a rising knee by Saraya, tagged to Toni. She isolated Robin. Robin fought back. She tagged in Charlotte. We had some clotheslines for Toni and Saraya. Nice drop kick by Toni. Big hip attack. Super kick by Saraya. Storm 0. And Toni and Saraya win. I'm liking this heel alliance. And then afterwards, they took spray paint and spray painted L's on the Renegade Twins. So it's going to be very interesting to see where everyone falls. Right now, we got Baker and Hayter on one side, and then we got Toni Storm and Saraya on the other. It's going to be interesting to see, where is Shida going to fall? Where is Ruby Soho going to fall? Are they going to bring in Athena as well? Is Athena going to join up with the ex-WWE guys or the ex-WWE gals, and are we going to get a blood and guts? It's going to be very, very interesting to see who falls where. And I like what Toni Storm and Saraya are doing. I think that they are playing up their roles very well, and they're on TV consistently and they're winning matches, so I can't really complain. Lisa, to answer your question, Robert Roode is injured. He recently had surgery. He is injured. Main event. Got a decent little match right here with Rush, El Toro Blanco, and Christopher Daniels. Not too bad of a main event right here. I wish it could have gone a little bit longer. Daniels with a suicide dive on Rush. Daniels was being worn down by Rush. Daniels mounted a comeback. Blue Thunder Bomb for a 2. We had a chest slap. Rush just open palm strike, slapped Christopher Daniels in the chest. Daniels came back with a forearm. Rush with a super kick. Daniels with a Death Valley driver high on the neck and shoulders for a 2. Daniels with the Uranagi. He went for the best moonsault ever, but Rush got the knees up, and Rush with a belly-to-belly into the corner. Rush then hit the Bull's Horns. The Bull's Horns connects the running drop kick, the hesitation drop kick in the corner, and Rush wins. Fairly decent main event. Really nothing too special. I wish it could have gone a little bit longer. This is why I say we only need 3 matches on Rampage, but at the end of the day, that was it. We got a decent show on a Friday night. Rampage is back to what it should be, and I'm liking what they're doing. So at the end of the day, all is good. All is good, and I think that AEW right now is hitting their stride, minus the TNT Championship and the constant flip-flopping of the fucking title. Regardless of that, we got another series of very good shows, another series of very good wrestling matches for AEW this week, and Revolution is shaping up to be great. And I certainly cannot wait for it. But until then, ladies and gents, that wraps up this edition of the Lightning Flash Update. You guys were fantastic, as always, and we finally got the tech issues fixed up. Hopefully, we will not have any more tech issues anymore. And yes, I will be going to a Super Bowl party on February 12th with one of my friends, so it should be a very fun night. I hope you guys have enjoyed the stream, but until next time, like, comment, subscribe, check out all the links in the description. Do what you need to do. I'm DJ Storms. This has been the Lightning Flash Update. But before we get out of here, people, I need everybody's got to tell me who runs the IWC. I see that Lisa said it. I see that Hologram said it. I want to see one more person say it. And Big Boy Johnny says it. And everybody should know who runs the IWC. Who but DJ motherfucking Storms. And don't you fucking forget it.